In early 2024, 80 police officers deployed across 2 overnight shifts to clear a group of local protesters. The community was attempting to block a massive new pipeline they believed would desecrate their ancestral lands. The Rotorua Lakes Council defended the deployment as a necessity for the $30 million Tarawera sewerage scheme. Their goal was a clear public good, replacing old septic tanks to stop wastewater from leaching into the lake. To maintain momentum, the council secured a court injunction, framing the protesters as unlawful obstacles to a vital environmental project. This pipeline runs beside Lake Rotokākahi. This land is Maori freehold, a tapu and sacred lake governed by its own board of control, rather than the local council. The board of control challenged the project in the High Court. When the ruling was delivered, the roles were reversed. It turned out the Maori defenders were acting within their rights, while the council had been operating outside the law. This case forces us to look at how public interest is defined. It raises a difficult question: who gets to decide which rights are protected and which are treated as roadblocks? The High Court ruling provides a clear timeline of events, revealing where the council bypassed Maori authority. The first finding concerns November 2020. The council decided to proceed with the pipeline route before legally consulting with the Rotokākahi Board of Control. This text from the judgment details a second breach in February 2025. The council unlawfully bypassed the resource consent process for earthworks by claiming the cultural impacts would be less than minor. In reality, the council already possessed a cultural impact assessment, warning that the project involved considerable excavation in areas of high cultural significance. By the time the board was finally brought to the table, the pipeline route was already a settled matter. The council had essentially bypassed the landowner's authority until the project was a reality. To understand why the Board of Control fought so hard, we have to look at the physical history of this landscape. Lake Rotokākahi is Tapu. These shores hold the remains of ancestors buried during the 1886 Mount Tarawera eruption, a site of immense spiritual significance. For the people of Rotokākahi, piping sewage through this land is no different than routing a municipal wastewater line directly through a local cemetery. It is a violation of the duty to protect those buried there. The project was framed as a choice between 2 lakes, cleaning up Tarawera or respecting the sacredness of Rotokākahi. This framing assumes that Maori cultural harm is a secondary concern that can be weighed against a perceived benefit to the wider community. When a tapu landscape is treated as a simple engineering hurdle, the resulting damage impacts the constitutional rights of the people who hold mana over that land. This section of the ruling contains a frustrating irony. Even though the council acted unlawfully, the judge declined to force them to reconsider the project. Because the $30 million pipeline was already installed, the court found reconsideration would be futile and too costly. This is the classic sunk cost loophole. By moving quickly, securing injunctions, and deploying police, the state ensures that by the time a court rules, the concrete has already hardened. A post-construction apology does not restore the authority that was bypassed during the design phase. Genuine partnership requires identifying and engaging the correct authority holders before the route is chosen and the budget is locked in. The Rotokākahi board has stated that this is not the end of the matter. For them, unlawful decisions affecting ancestral lands must carry actual consequences. Protecting our environment is a shared necessity, but it cannot be used as an excuse to work around the law. A clean future for these lakes requires a process that respects the people who have cared for them for generations.